Well, unlike real kisses, on the plus side, we stand no risk of mononucleosis. So, without further ado, and horrible puns, let's get on into the game! Alright, hello everybody, this is me, Mr. 79, on this glorious day of... It is a Sunday, April 16th, 2017, and we have a little bit of curious shit happening, so let's go ahead and take a while to explain this. But first, let's introduce our players. Spawning in the left-hand position of whatever the hell map this is. Representing our blue Zerg players, it is Death Eater, Jacatisi, you know what, we have a lot of people to introduce, we don't have time. Jacatisi, and Calbor. And the unfortunate recipient of this madness spawning in the right-hand position of whatever the hell map this is, we shall call it Map Kyugi. Representing our red-turn player, it is Q's. From Psionic Aftermath. Man, that was a good kiss. Alright, let's explain what is going on. This is a good old-fashioned 3v1. 3 Zerg players, 1 unfortunate Terran player. And this is exactly what it sounds like. I don't think I've ever cast anything of this sort before. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is excessively uncommon to cast games like this, so I am super pumped to go ahead and bring this game to you all. And I'm doing my best, as always, to keep up with the action. Looks as though Keith is going for 3 racks before anything else. You can't fault him for the caution, because honestly, yeah. 1 Zerg player is bad enough, so when you put 3 of them, yeah. You're obviously going to need a little bit of extra help. Okay, this is just getting redonk. Here's my hypothesis. He wants to wall off in case like 50 of the Zerglings come in, and he can do a grand total of nothing about it if he is not walled off. The great conglomeration of the overlords are over here. All 4 of them belonging to 1 Zerg player. As you may imagine, these Zerg players aren't... I will not call them top tier. I will not call them bottom tier. I will call them Zerg players. Yeah, it is obviously going to be a 3v1, as I've already said. Blah, blah, blah. Can have to see if 3 okay Zerg players can beat 1 good Terran player. And my hypothesis, hell yes they can. I mean, honestly, imagine like 2. Imagine facing off against 2 people, right? I mean, honestly, I don't have too much hope. I don't think Terran can really hit any timings because there'll be 3 times the amount of crap to deal with it. There's this super narrow choke right here to kind of take advantage of. So Terran probably, we're gonna go ahead and say horrible things will happen to him, but let's not say horrible things will happen to him. Let's watch them unfold. As you may have noticed, right around right here, since this is an unconventional game, my standard replay interface doesn't really work, so I had to use the regular one, and as you may know, the regular one does have this little bar that tells you how far along you are. And long story short, pulled up the first image I could find on my computer, which is the Hackerman picture that I used to make terrible jokes. In my defense, I only use that picture to make terrible jokes about terrible people. But you know what? Let's digress. We have a game to cast. Looks like all 2 players are going for some kind of 1 base play, except for Calbor, who decided to go for an expansion kind of build. Everyone else is just comfortably sitting back home, getting 2 queens for 1 hatchery, making some lings, just doing the thing, you know. And already we are seeing these debris getting the hell nibbled out of these Zerglings. Can Zerglings nibble the hell out of things? They sure as hell can. Holy hot tail, that's a lot of alliteration. Alright, let's go ahead. 4 lings now in production. Looks like they're 1 basing it. Let's take a look at this map really quickly, analyze what the Terran player's game plan may be. Gas at the 3-minute 35 second mark. A little bit unconventional, but honestly, you need a hell of a lot of Marines if you're facing off against 3 Zerg players at once. Let me preface this by saying, if this were a Protoss player, oh my hot hell, he would have had so many kinds of death laid upon him at this point in time. But no, Terran players are known to be one of the most flexible races. They can deal with situations like these, and look at that, already a hell of a lot of Marines. And these lings probably won't do all that much afterwards. If we take a look at the income, can we look at the income? Yes, it is. Let's see, it is around 42 harvesters to 21, so yeah, that's something to be a little bit concerned about. More lings now on the way to kind of flood on in, and the lings have already reached this location. The slow lings along with non-slow lings doing horrible things to the SCV line. Already a lot of them going down. Can't afford to be losing that. Oh, this interface doesn't show how many SCVs killed. We'll assume a sizable chunk. We'll call it a heaping ladleful. One heaping ladleful of SCVs going down in that attack. Obviously not very good. Now Death Eater and Calibur are going to go ahead and move on forward. There are Banings now in the mix. Can our Terran player possibly hope to defend against this? I'm not so certain, folks. Banings morphing on, and if the control is good enough, maybe. It looks as though that Hughes does have the element of control on his side. He's going to have to channel his inner beyond and micro against these Banings perfectly. It looks like the Banings are finally coming on in, but a little bit too late without any support. He's trying to do the best he can. Banings had an okay-ish connection, but overall that attack has been held so far superbly-ish. You can go ahead and land that bad boy. The Judicator looks at me straight in the eyes and makes me uncomfortable, and I know tonight will be filled with horrible dreams of this face. Not that face, that face. Ugh. Oh well, oh well. Adjudicator's kind of odd, actually. We'll go ahead and keep that for a story for another day, though. Looks like the Zerg players are starting to expand a little bit more. The Terran players are just happy to stay back at home, get a lot of Marines, and try not to die. These barracks have been very, very crucial. As you can see, there is a giant-ass ramp over here. Not just a regular ramp, just a giant-ass ramp. That is the only way to properly explain that. And you know what? It takes one supply depot and 5 buildings to watch off. So you know what? Not the worst walls we've seen. I've seen maps much harder to wall in. Meanwhile, our Zerg players are going to go and try to bust through the Terran one more time. Looks like the Banings do immediately get target fire. The Lings thus are pretty useless at this point without their Baning support. The Zerg players trying to recuperate their forces. Let's take inventory. There is now 2, 4, 6 bases to 2, which isn't nearly as awesome as it may sound, as the Zerg players are fairly disorganized. Take a look at the income graph. There is now around 62-ish. We'll call it 62-ish harvests in 19. However, the real problem is we all know that 3 excellent Zerg players were able to take this Terran player, flip him upside down, and thrust roaches into whatever orifice they please. However, what really comes down is the skill of the individual players. Do they have the macro abilities to take out this Terran player when they are threefold in number? And judging by the energy in this queen, I'll go ahead and have to say that probably, maybe not for a Death Eater. Let's take a look at Jake's Stickle. Yeah, it looks like he's getting the injects off. And Calibur is too. So Death Eater, gotta step it up, broski. Need to contribute a little bit more to your team than that. Zerg players floating around $2,000 in combined resources. That's actually super cool. Look at the top right. These are the resources that our Terran players floating, and these are the resources that our Zerg players are floating. And here we go. Actually, hold that thought, because the Banings now have speed. It is just finished on up. However, they're trying to pressure this top right hand side. Meanwhile, on the bottom left hand side, Calibur is going to go and try to position himself to maybe attack this base while keeping the Terran's attention over here, which may actually work out very well now that these Banings have speed and these Marines don't have. These Marines, they don't have stim, and these Banings do have speed, so... yeah, take me on a one-way... give me a one-way ticket to Sketchtown, because this shit is sketchy. I don't think he can really split that effectively against Speed Banes, but however, if there are only a handful of them, maybe you can deal with them. However, the other hand has come to go ahead and assist, and now I kind of fear for our friend Q's. What is his game plan? He has 3 orbital commands. The third one just barely starting. The factory now beginning production at the 7-minute and 50-second mark. If I didn't know any better, I would say this was absolute chaos, but I do know better, because I would say it is absolute madness. Gonna go ahead, ooh, links filtering on through. Do you see what I see? I see a meat grinder. Meanwhile, ooh, the spit from the Terran player, absolutely redonkulous. Look at that. Totally minimizing the damage from the Zerg players. The Zerg players not quite able to take cost-effective engagements. Meanwhile, on this bottom right-hand flank, these barracks are completely exposed. Only one supply depot stands between him and total annihilation of his base. More Banings starting to waddle on up. Can he get this best? No, he needs to run away. The Marines trying to achieve the best as they can. And looks like they will. This is just so much firepower. The Zerg players need to be very careful about how efficient they are with their trades. Meanwhile, on this bottom right-hand flank, trying to go after the barracks when the supply depot is left there. Supply depot thinking its lucky stars that it is a socialist. Not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. Not quite sure what if I wanted to mean anything. Meanwhile, these SCVs gonna go ahead and have to evacuate out of this main base location. The factory and starport are pretty damn exposed in their current position. Meanwhile, the huge soul train of Marines gonna go ahead and pick off what they can. The roaches now trying to focus on this orbital command. Funny thing about orbital commands, they fly, and now these roaches, I don't think much is going to be done, accomplished with them. The Marines are just so vast in numbers. It's very tongue stuck. Meanwhile, the top left flank being destroyed by Ravagers. There's just action happening all over the place. Meanwhile, Zergs are expanding left, right, front, center, and quasi-center. Looks as though these Raptors are taking out as many supply depots as they can. This makes Terran players, you can see, is far from supply box. 71 out of 109 total supply, but he definitely has to watch out. Losing these Raptors will be super costly, and these Raptors actually aren't being macro very well, and they do end up going down. All right, now I have a lot more faith in our Terran player, especially if he catches this big group of Overlords. So obviously, skill level for left side versus skill level on the right side. I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to say there exists a discrepancy. Let's look at the income graph. 21, 22 harvesters too. We'll call that around 70-ish. And still our friend Q is hanging on like a champion. Bottom right hand flank exposes some roaches and some overseers. Let's see what our Zerg players are up to. Any creep spread? Surprising lack of creep spread for 3 Zerg players. This Zerg command center is up and running now in orbital command. Do these bad boys have stim? Yeah, they have stim. So now they can hurt themselves to hurt others around them. Oh, and I've never been so relatable to a Marine. Damn. Anyways, 3 Mutalists have begun production. Any Spire upgrades? No Spire upgrades just yet. So basically, we have a little bit of a stalemate at this moment. A decent amount of Zerg on each side versus the Terran army. It looks as though our friend Q's, I mean, sure, he has his 3 bases that are protected by the high ground. That's very nice and all. However, what happens when he has to take this location? Then you can just have all sorts of crazy flanks attack him, like Lingbane from here, Roach Ravager from here, and Broodlords hitting it from the top. I very much fear for him taking a 4th base. However, we all know that Terrans basically do not need any kind of 4th base whatsoever. These, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, they're just transferring over here. Okay, they're just transferring over there. What the hell? Where are you guys going? Alright, so he wants to take the gold. Okay, I can't help but think maybe that's a little bit of a risque way to do it, but I'm not one to judge. My Protoss eyes have flown into Widowmine so many times. Look at this. Look at that bad boy. You don't fool me. You eat my oracles, now I eat your vision. Wish the same could be said for that thing. They're baiting out the Widowmine shot up there. Zerg players now just taking the rest of the map, not giving any expansions. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expansions total left on this map that are free for any player to take. And if each one of those Zerg players expands just a couple more times, our Terran player will eventually have nowhere to mine from and nowhere to go. A lot of Marines over here just holding that top left-hand flank on the bottom right-hand center. Meanwhile, a drop is occurring, the first drop of the match. There are Mutalists out on the field. Mutalists in production for both players. Let's go ahead and follow this bad boy, see what she is up to. We'll call her a bad girl because, you know what, medevac pilots are female, and we are recognizing that she has her X chromosome. Good on you, medevac pilot. Meanwhile, just a bunch of Marines. They can do a lot. Lots of micro potential with the Marine, Stim, and medevac. It is a little bit concerning that he doesn't have this back at home, but you know what, you gotta do something to control these Zerg players, I suppose. Now this base being taken, so that leaves us with a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 expansions left to take on this map. Meanwhile, this Overlord content to do nothing for the whole entire game. I'll see you when 20,000 hot hells freezes over, Overlord, as you are probably not going to do much for the whole game. Except die, and provide supply. I guess that's what all Overlords do. Pylons too, to some extent. Even supply depots, wow. It must suck being a supply provider in StarCraft 2. Anyways, let's go ahead and knock those thoughts off as these Marines are trying to do some damage to the hatchery. Mutalists flying on over, but no, they are not fast enough in number. They're going to go ahead and get targeted down by the Marines. 1 Muta goes down, now 2, now 3. Can I get a 4th Muta go down? Quite possibly 2 Mutas. 2 or 3 Mutas for the price of a couple of Marines. That is not a bad trade at all. Now, Terran player wants to go ahead and take the engagement. These things are getting a good wrap around, but however, there's just so much firepower. The front wall of roaches are going down the Hydras to follow the Raptors, meanwhile trying to do what they can. However, the Zerg player are just split up every single which direction. They need to regroup with their forces and regroup with them fast. Not floating actually that many minutes are each Zerg player. You can see they're spending their money fairly well, just not able to be in the same place at the same time. This one, okay, yeah, maybe not that one, but still spending their money alright. They just need to take one final engagement. The Corruptor on the way. The thing about Corruptors against this many Marines is that they don't even tickle this many Marines. You could have a trillion Corruptors and these Marines would look up and smile because dinner is swerved. These over is going to go and get cut for our friend Calvor. What does our Zerg players decide to do? I think they could actually win a base race. Just there's so many more bases for the Zerg than the Terran. That may be their best bet. Looks as though they're going to go ahead and posture. No, just going to go ahead for the wraparound on the flank. Try to catch the Terran player on creep. It's going to be our Zerg players' tactics. Meanwhile, a counterattack up here. This is getting a little bit spicy, folks. SCV's trying to come to repair. Can they get there in time? No, the front door is busted on down. Meanwhile, the Lynx on for the wraparound. This base getting ravaged. Hughes is not happy about the Terran presence in his game, and now he is pushing forward to completely wipe out our friend Calbor. Calbor has his friend Jake Testicle. We'll just say that's Jake Testicle because I don't care. Jake Testicle trying to do what he can to help. Man, Calborn, meanwhile, knocking on the Starbound location. This is just madness so far. We have evolved into Pandemonium. Marines walking into the Gruesome Bios. Ouch, Arenos goes to the Marines. Now they're going to walk into more. Yeah, it appears to be so. And now the drafters can take a straight up fight. Meanwhile, the road drafter isn't loose on the main base. A small drop of Marine Marauder Medevac has been deployed to go ahead and clean this up. And it looks like it will do exactly that. The top right hand location, meanwhile, has been cleaned on up. Look at the income graph. 44 harvesters too. We'll call that around 80-ish. Jake Testicle trying to do the best that he can. Is he going to throw it on the Curse of Violence? It looks like though he is. But our friend Hughes is too good for that. Dodging it in this too cool for school micro. This medevac should form a unit because the amount of labor she is forced to perform is absolutely ridiculous down. Crossbow is actually landing on some of the buyers, so I retract my previous statement, but reinforcements have arrived. And so this medevac is going to boost on the way. This Zerg player, I mean, Caltusk is probably going to be like, yeah, we cleaned him up. Yeah, number one. Zerg is number one. We just killed that Terran player. And holy shit, there is more of it. And they run for the hills. Look as though this drop in the main base is going to go and try to take out some tech. A couple of queens here to spawn, probably not going to be able to get the job done. Meanwhile, this base is most assuredly going to go down. What do our Zerg players have? Take a look at the active forces. 4,000 for the... Okay. Look at the... supplies! 74, 64, and 20 to 140. If you add up these, that's 160 to 142. And honestly, with the caliber of level our friend Q's, he might actually end up winning this match. What can our Zerg players do? Maybe spend their bank for once, but probably that's not going to happen anytime soon. Oh gosh. Am I Gaelic? I hope I'm not Gaelic. I don't think there's anything wrong with being Gaelic. Enough about my heritage. Looks like the Woodmine's actually shooting off on overloads. Not something we see every day. The Parent Power has now moved on, breached this main base location, trying to take down as many tech buildings as he can. Roach is being rallied to their doom. This Widowmine doing more friendly splash damage than enemy splash damage. Not their winning fall to the Widowmine, but just that there's so little for it to kill. Raptor is getting a move command onto the Terran army. Oh my god, the meat grinder strikes back. This spawning pool is going to go ahead and go down. Explode in a blaze of guts, glory, and broodlings. Meanwhile, the Mutas and the Raptors are trying to clean this up, but the Muta's getting targeted on down. This is painful to watch at this point, folks. Are the Crucifies going to land? No, Crucifies are not landing just yet. Meanwhile, these... Crucifies do actually land on a medevac. Now the fight is taking on place, but there's not too much to support these Raptors. There are a couple of baitings, and that is it. Let's take a look at the player camera, see what our friend Hughes is thinking. His attention is over... Oh, 3 places at once. 3 at Soaks the Manager once. What a guy, Q's! What a guy! Rallying everything the APM for this guy must be through the roof. I know Control E is not to check APM. I've made that mistake once. I'm not making it again. Look at him go! Just taking on expansion after expansion after expansion. This is pandemonium. All right, let's see what can our Zerg players do. What can they do? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. There's drones. I guess there's drones. You can mine at least, but that's a mute point. These drones over here, they're pretty much sick of life. The Marines gonna go ahead and deliver them sweet assimilation into the Kala. At least I think that's how it works. This banding trying to get the juiciest connection they can, taking out a Marine. Meanwhile, this base is getting ravaged in the bottom left-hand corner. This middle base, there's not too much left to speak of it. And folks, I think we may be seeing a GG from our Zerg players any second here now. This roach is getting super softened by the Widowmines. The Marines are now content to go ahead and stand in and fight. The production for Q's is absolutely insane. The bases for the Zergs have been cleaned on up, and it looks as though he may very well just have done it. The last Raptor is going to go ahead and go down. The drones can be pulled, but to what extent? The Crucifier does go down. He needs to kill all these medevacs, then teleport over here and land on every single one of these units, and then on every single one of the SCBs. But folks, it's just not going to happen. These Hydras trying to do what they can, trying to stand against the Bayou to defy them, but no. Q's cannot be contained. His 4th base now confidently being landed down. The Zerg players trying to rebuild their tech, couple of hatchers on the way for Death Eater in an attempt to spend his money. I think it's a little bit too late for that, my friend Death Eater, and looks as though the reinforcements may very well be enough to shut out this game. Burrow has just finished on up, as we can see. Where's who reaches Burrow? Alright. If Scholar versus Bomber, game number 1 has taught me anything, it is that Burrow Blanins can do incredible things in incredibly dim situations. However, this is not Scarlet, this is not Bomber, this is not Red Bull Battlegrounds, and there are no paintings out on the map. Unfortunately, I think, my friends, that this game is practically over. There is a one base mining up here, a couple of units all the way here. I think our Zerg player just kind of went AFK in an attempt to not kind of leave this game. So you know what? We're going to go ahead, press Control M, press Control S, go ahead, Control Shift follow on these bad boys, speed up the game irreconcilably. And folks, while we stop the outro, let's go ahead and watch the gruesome carnage of 3 Zerg players by 1 Terran player. Alright, GG's called actually, so we're going to go ahead and analyze this game for just a little second. I mean, honestly, it seems as though the Zerg players could have actually done it. Wouldn't have been surprised if they had won, but you know what, they just couldn't spend their money well enough. The Zerg players actually got picked apart the same way a Protoss gets picked apart, by just being in too many locations at once, spread much too thin. Surprisingly, both these Zerg players could not take a straight-up engagement, took some bad engagements in the early game, and you know what? That is all it took for our friend Q's to capitalize on his advantage and destroy the game for our Zerg players. But the Zerg players just needed to group up a little bit, just have more solid fundamental understandings of StarCraft. The huge stable in the Marines was actually pretty cool. But shoulda, coulda, woulda is the story of StarCraft. We are all here to improve after all. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and leave a like. It helps me much more than you may think. You can go ahead and leave a comment down below if you are so inclined, and I will be 100% certain to get back to you on that. What else is there? You can go ahead and email me your replays at Mr79@outlook.com, and I will be certain to get yourself on that, as this one was. And remember, folks, above all else, the internet could always use some more heroes.